Well, it seems Meghan Markle is now suggesting that racism isn't just limited to the royal family, it applies to America too. Apparently, when people realized she was biracial, it became an issue, and the narrative goes that she faced so much hostility over it during her time in the UK that she had no choice but to leave. Harry, of course, stepped in as her protector, battling the so-called villains who supposedly made her race such a big deal. She claims she fled because of how she was treated as a black woman. But let's take a moment to look at what this mistreatment actually included. A $40 million wedding, a wardrobe worth $1.5 million, and prestigious roles like Vice President of the Queen's Commonwealth Trust. She was the patron of incredible charities, met global leaders, and was shown respect and admiration, with people bowing and curtsying to her. That's the reality of how this black woman was treated.
My name is Meghan Markle, and I'm here because I think it's a really important campaign to be a part of. For me, I think it hits a really personal note. I'm biracial. Most people can't tell what I'm mixed with, and so much of my life has felt like being a fly on the wall. And so some of the slurs that I've heard, or the really offensive jokes, or the names, it's just hit me in a really strong way. And then, you know, a couple years ago, I heard someone call my mom the N-word. So I think for me, beyond being personally affected by racism, just to see the landscape of what our country is like right now, certainly the world, and to want things to be better.
In 2012, she embarked on a campaign across the United States, presenting herself in a way that could lead others to believe she had personally experienced racism. However, this portrayal is misleading, as she has openly stated on numerous occasions that she is a white woman and has lived her life as such. She never expressed a desire to embrace the identity of a black woman. She has undergone various cosmetic procedures, including changes to her nose and teeth, and has removed her natural afro hair. If Meghan Markle had kept her original features, including her afro, there would be no ambiguity about her ethnicity. But it seems she has distanced herself from identifying as black to the extent that even her agent claimed he didn't know she was black, assuming instead that she was a sun-kissed Californian. The situation surrounding Meghan Markle becomes even more evident when you listen to her podcast episode with Mariah Carey. Just pay attention to what she says there.
I think for us, it's so different because we're light-skinned. You're not treated as a black woman. You're not treated as a white woman. You sort of fit in between. I mean, if there's any time in my life that it's been more focused on my race, it's only once I started dating my husband. Then I started to understand what it was like to be treated like a black woman, because up until then, I had been treated like a mixed woman. And things really shifted.
Even though it is a bit shocking that at 30-some years of age, she is just understanding what it's like to be a black woman in America. It's a bit surprising to me.
Former agent Nick Collins, who Meghan Markle dropped quickly, shared some interesting details. He admitted he initially didn't realize Meghan was biracial and assumed she was white. There was no question about her appearance or ethnicity, but when she struggled to land roles as a white actress, Meghan revealed her mixed-race background. She asked Collins to start booking her for biracial roles, saying she was part black. Nick was reportedly surprised and began sending her to auditions for black characters. However, Meghan later claimed she wasn't accepted in those roles either, alleging that black people rejected her for being too white. This idea doesn't hold up. Think about actresses like Lisa Bonet from The Cosby Show. In America, audiences are familiar with light-skinned black women playing black characters. Meghan's claim is unfounded. She also has said she couldn't pursue modeling because of her height. A maid who was interviewed mentioned she is 5'4" and noted that Meghan appeared slightly shorter. Despite Meghan claiming to be 5'6", her height wouldn't have stopped her from trying. Kate Moss, for instance, became a hugely successful supermodel despite being just 5'7", breaking the industry mold of requiring models to be at least 5'10". Interestingly, Meghan never openly identified as black during her high school years. A teacher even expressed surprise upon meeting Meghan's mother, Doria, at her graduation, as Doria wasn't involved in school events. Meghan reportedly encouraged the assumption that she was Italian, which may explain why conversations about her racial identity didn't happen earlier. Talent isn't defined by race, just as ignorance isn't tied to a specific race. Consider Zendaya, a stunning example of someone whose talent transcends labels. Meghan's tendency to blame her failures on racism or external factors is telling. For example, her struggles with her podcast could easily lead to pointing fingers at Spotify. The reality is that she struggled with these challenges long before moving to the UK or encountering the royal family. It's absurd to claim the US is racist when she only seemed to acknowledge her Black identity later in life. Even after marrying into one of the most privileged families in the world, where she had extensive staff and resources, Meghan has been accused of bullying and has avoided accountability for actions like alleged perjury. Instead of taking responsibility, she continues to shift blame onto others. You secured a major deal with Netflix, while she has failed time and time again. She was working on Mel Elliott's stories for Pearl and Georgina Lawton's 43% Nigerian, yet there's not a single original idea from her. Her so-called brand? Still non-existent, still pending, as always. Now, Meghan Markle seems to be pushing the narrative that in the US, her acting career didn't take off because her racial identity was too ambiguous, always blaming external factors, never herself. And something that really stands out in her interview is when she basically implies that if people don't recognize how incredible and amazing she is, then it's their loss. Yes, she outright says that if you don't see how wonderful she is, it's your problem. It's your loss because she's just that exceptional. I'm truly amazed. This level of narcissism is unbelievable. These podcasts still aren't focusing on female founders and their paths to success. Instead, they're all about Meghan Markle criticizing the royal family. Now that her efforts in the US are falling flat, she's turning her criticism towards America because her Netflix deal wasn't renewed. She mentioned in some interview with Jamie Lee or Jamie Carlin that she's re-editing the second season of her show, which was already recorded and edited last year. She's making changes because her first attempt didn't land. Honestly, she's failed at everything she's tried. Despite being handed every opportunity by some of the biggest names in the industry, she still can't make it work. Even with her cooking show, which she claimed involved a team of 80 people, it still flopped. It's outrageous. She's manipulative and delusional. Remember what I said before? People like her, raised to believe everything they do is extraordinary, and that they can never fail, can't handle accountability when things go wrong. Some people blame others when things don't go their way. Over time, they learn to surround themselves with people they can manipulate, essentially targeting individuals they see as easy to exploit. That's exactly what Meghan Markle does, in my opinion. Trevor Engelson is a prime example of someone she latched onto, followed by Corey Vitiello, who fell for her, and now Prince Harry. She even boasts about how much this man adores her. But the reality is, Harry isn't in love with her anymore. He's looking for a way out, and Meghan knows it. Her appearance with Jamie Kern-Lima comes off as a desperate attempt to create a false narrative, much like her ongoing claims that she couldn't succeed in the US because of discrimination, claiming she wasn't black enough or white enough. It's just another attempt to rewrite reality to suit her story. We've seen plenty of actors achieve success in the same way she has. The key difference is that they were persistent and had real talent. So, what's the answer here? Should she return the money? Honestly, I think Harry and Meghan should repay the money spent on their wedding. It's only $40 million basically pocket change for them, right? That's not a big deal for them. And how many more false claims are we going to hear? Her agent even came forward saying they didn't know she was black. If that's true, then how could anyone discriminate against her based on her race if they didn't even know?